Good morning, guys. Welcome back to our channel. Today I'm just cleaning, and sorry that it's dark, a little dark, because I'm trying to practice living off-grid. Yep, that's the topic today. How you can be on-grid and practice living off-grid. Not only are you going to save money on your bills, but if you're really thinking about this lifestyle, you want to start conserving. You want to start getting your mentality mentally prepared. That's what I'm trying to say. You want to start getting mentally prepared for the lifestyle that you're choosing. So this is what we do. And sometimes it's difficult, I know, doing something for so long, and then suddenly, all of a sudden, your lifestyle's changing. The good thing about us, though, is that we're choosing to change our lifestyle. Nobody's making us do anything that we don't want to do. We just woke up and realized that living on grid is not very sustainable for us anymore. Even though we work hard and we tried, it's difficult. It's not easy anymore. I sure do miss the old days when you can wake up as a kid and just run the streets and play with your friends and come home and dinner is on the table. You get a bath, from your mom or your dad, and you get dressed, you do homework, and you knew exactly how things were going to unfold. But in today's lifestyle, it's just not the same. Gone are the days where you can just be free, like a kid. I just think it's interesting that the lifestyle that we're given now is not what it used to be. I thought about 2 years ago how things were a lot cheaper. 3 years before that, they were cheaper than what they are now. And now the inflation is like ridiculous. It's just like 1,000% or more. And who can live that way? I know I can't. I'm just tired of the mundane things of life over and over and over. It's the same thing, And I'm telling you something, though. If we as a world will wake up and smell the coffee, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing every day. So that's what happened with my husband, Michael, and I. We just decided that, you know what, this is bad. I'm in my 50s, and, he's in his late 40s. And for whatever reason, job security isn't there anymore. So nobody's talking about the elephant in the room, whether or not, everybody's going to be able to have a sustainable life. We do have to make an income, all of us, but is there any other ways that we can do things? Society is changing around us. Technology is changing. Why can't we? If AI takes over, what happens to human employees? So things do have to change. And I think a lot of people are starting to realize that. I'm sitting here, never did I ever thought I would be sitting here talking to an audience all over the world on my camera, in my bedroom, in my robe, by the way, because I'm freezing. I laugh now, but you know what? It's just it's humorous. I sometimes feel like, we're on a reality TV show or something, but this is what our household has become. I'm pretty sure there's tons and tons of people across the world trying to figure out what to do to have a sustainable life. So this channel is about off-grid living, and we are transitioning. We are getting there. We're doing all that we need to be able to do. And yes, you're going to have circumstances where, things don't work out the way that you thought it would work out, or there's delay, or there's obstacles. But you know what? Don't let that get you down. Just stay focused. Remember that life is what we make of it, So if you want to do this off-grid living lifestyle, start making a way for you to get there. We rely on our faith, and that's the only thing that we have that we see that is a solid foundation. Other than that, I've worked hard since I was a young girl. Even in school, I've worked all my life. As a kid, my mom taught me how to cook eggs at 6 years old. So we know how to feed our family, And for the most part, mom was working from the early morning, and she had to drive, living in California, South Central LA, in the hood. Yeah, that's where I come from. I was raised in the hood, right where they film Boys in the Hood. That was my block, and Friday, 2 blocks away from me. Then we moved to Cucamonga to try to get a Rancho Cucamonga to try to make life more sustainable. As I was a teenager, I moved up there, and it was the same, the hustle and the bustle. So, like I said, I was in school, and I had little jobs, side jobs, where, my teacher let me clean our blinds and paid my mom money for us to be able to have food on the table, even with her working full time, you know. So, and that was back in the day. But I sure do miss the lifestyle of being able to just have the freedom as a child, and to run around the streets, keep your doors unlocked, And so moving to 1 acre property here in Vail was the freedom, the closest I could get to that. Now I'm having to find 2.5 years later, when we plan for retirement, that, you know what, you're going to have to move again. You see, things don't always pan out the way you think they would pan out. But yeah, that's what's been happening with us. So, I was a realtor. We were making good money. My income was supplemental, and 6 figures, but can't do that anymore. If you haven't noticed, the market right now is not going well. So, we need prayers for our home to be sold. And that's, again, there I am again with my faith. That's all I could do, is rely on God. But thanks be to Him, our land is paid off. And now the next step is to get us moved. So in our planning, things don't always pan out the way that you expect them to. But you got to have the determination if you want that lifestyle. If you want off-gridding lifestyle, you have to have the determination to do it. And focus on what's important. you know. Um, every day when I lay down and I go to sleep, I'm praying and I'm calling out to God to give me clarity, to give us guidance, because we need it. We need it in this world. Everything changed so quickly in the past few years, especially. It just seemed like everything is shortened, the days are shortening, you know. When you're working, it's long hours, you know. So after being in real estate for a while, I end up having to close that down. And so now my husband is the only one that is working, and I'm looking to work from home, you know. But again, working from home and being able to work on my homestead, that's going to be the most important thing, because I need to make sure that I don't have one without having the other undone. And we know how that is. Running that rat wheel, when you start running that, you can easily lose focus of the things that are important, you know, like sustainable living. So I don't know if you notice, but I'm going to be happy to be trying to grow my own food. You know, whatever free courses there are, you know, anything that I can learn, take tools and learn to how to do gardening is very important nowadays, because if you can't get groceries at the grocery store for the affordable prices that you need them to be, you're going to have to put your grocery store in your backyard while you're on grid. You see, we started that here when we moved to this land, this 1 acre property. We started that here, and we're partially off grid here. You know, we've been practicing curtailing on our water. You know, our water bill is like $20, you know. My electricity have plummeted from 250 during the summer to $60. And that's because I'm not hardly using electricity. I don't turn my furnace on. That's why I put on a robe. I have a sweater and a sweater on to bundle up because it is so cold. But right now we're in the 40s, and you know, it's cold, but I'm thankful that I can make do. You know, the more that I start putting myself under these circumstances, I'm going to learn to be warm at these temperature, because our bodies learn to adapt. That's how God created us. But at the same time too, it just made me start waking up and looking at things of what I can do to be able to, while I'm transitioning, save as much money as possible to be able to focus on my off-grid lifestyle and to get things done, because that's where it's going to need to get done. I never thought at my age or my husband's age that we would have to be trying to start all over and from raw land, because it's just not affordable anymore to be able to go out and just buy a ready made homestead. You know, and you would think that having a college degree and working and all of that, just the way that the system taught us to do, would work for us, but it hasn't. You know, and they keep pushing Social Security further away from us, and we're not getting any younger. So if you keep pushing it, when are we going to be able to have access to that? You see? So the realities of all these things are that we need to focus on God. You know, my husband and I have chosen to focus on God. And, you know, that is more real to us. And we just had to wake up, you know. But I'm thankful that through it all, that we're seeing the realities of it, and we're hoping that we still have time to be able to, you know, transition and do it where we're not too old, you know. So, you know, a lot of people don't understand that off-grid living is not cheap, you know, but if you do it, it will help you to be able to maintain a sustainable life, you know. And the way I look at it is that we've been sewing for a lot of years to working and, you know, paying our bills on time, have high credit scores, get things financed the way that the system teaches us to do it. And yet we are failing. The Monopoly board, my Monopoly game has been torn over. I'm done with it. I'm tired. I don't know about you, but I'm exhausted. And nowadays, you know, just I have to say, my mental state and processing everything, you know, is as I'm cleaning my house, fixing the bed, I'm still connected to, you know, the fact that I am doing what I'm supposed to do. I put my house on the market. I'm paying my bills. Even when we can't pay our bills, you know, God provide, and we make sure that that is taken care of the soonest that we can take care of it, you know, because of the furlough. And now with the 30th looming, right, a couple of days from now, we still don't even know. The elephant in the room is not being looked at. Nobody knows it. We haven't even heard anything about how is that going to go? Will my husband be able to have a job, or, you know? So I don't know about you, but we're just exhausted. So I just wanted to come on here and give you guys an update while I'm over here trying to clean up. I'm reminded that I kind of feel like, what's the use? What's the use of fixing the bed? What's the use of cleaning the house? Because it's not working, you know? Just like it gets dirty again. I like to be in a clean house, but for example, my house gets dirty again. And I feel like it's the same thing with the way the system is operating, because we do everything we're supposed to do, and yet we are here. You know, it's so disappointing. So disappointing. You know, off-grid living for me, I like my special things that I get to have here. My bed has a massager on it. I'm gonna be sleeping in a travel trailer. That's the realities of this life and the way that the system is working. Everybody's getting rich. The hardworking people are not getting rich. Everybody's getting rich except who is supposed to be rich. You know, it's not working anymore. The market is cooling down. Hopefully not the crash that they were talking about before. But this is why I need to focus on God. You know, and because without him, I don't know. You know, I can't handle this. I don't know how people are doing it without any medication. You know, that's another thing. You know, the doctors are pushing medication. Here, take this. I don't have time for that. I don't have time to be laid up on my bed and can't function. You know, that's what they want to do for anxieties, you know. So that's why I said I will pick up my Bible and I will read it. May let God be true and everybody else a liar, you know. And that's what we're here for. We're here at this place with our eyes open, And yes, it's going to be difficult. I'm not saying off-grid living and transitioning is going to be easy, but the rewards is there at the end. You know, one thing about real estate is I've learned you have to do the work. And I've lived that way for over 9 years, you know, where you do the work and it may take you a couple of months before you even get paid. That's what this feels like. It feels like it's a reward that will come later. So, but I don't want to draw out this video, but thank you guys for joining us. And I hope it's not disappointing you. But I just wanted to come up here and vent a little bit because I have my community, my off-grid community to come to. But thank you guys for listening. And anybody thinking about going off-grid, do it. Do it. Because this right here is not working. This system is broken. And nobody is trying to fix it. And you know what? And there's everybody in the world who needs a sustainable living, and they're not trying to fix it. They're just trying to make us go with the flow. And going with the flow is going to make us hungry and tired, exhausted, and mentally drained. So, with that being said, I hope that you guys are awake. And nothing wrong with being on grid if you could afford it. But for those of us who can't, we're jumping ship. And that's my husband and I, and we're just exhausted. All the energy that we put into everything and just still come up empty. You put all your money in the bank, and believe me, when I first got in real estate, the teacher told us, you guys will be making bags and bags and bags of money. And what do we have to show for it? Because we put it all into the system, and the system has nothing to offer us back. Because when they're ready, they can say, oh, your house is it's devalued. When you went and you got a loan for X amount of money for that value, they want to turn around and drop your value. Then when you want to make payments ahead of time, like I've been doing with our mortgage, they take it down and say, we're no longer allowing this third party to accept payments biweekly. You got to go back to original payments. And if that wasn't enough, they also, before the furlough happened, they kept refinancing our loan by selling it off. So what can we do about these things? So it wasn't just the furlough or the shutdown of the government. It was also insurance increase, property increase, and we're not benefiting. So in my reality, I woke up and I was like, you know what? We're renting from the government and they're increasing the mortgage. Whether we want to refi or not, we don't have a choice because they keep selling our loan and starting us all over again. Nobody got time for that. I know I don't. So this is where we're at right now. I'm so excited about what's coming, the new chapter, because once we're there on that land and that land is ready for us to be on our property, we're leaving this house. And so we're just waiting for us to do that, and we're gone. We're out of here. And this place, if I can't sell it, I'm going to have to rent it. So, and by doing that, there's opportunity for a little income there. But at the same time, hopefully they will take care of the property. So there's options out there to get things done. When one door closes, another door open, and we still have enough time for the realtor to be able to sell our home. So we're just having faith, but we're not staying here until our household sells. We are transitioning as soon as we get our property secured. And we're going to be living out of our trailer. And if you want to see how we transform raw land into our homestead off-grid, then you've come to the right place. So stay tuned and bear with us because we're still trying to process things. You know, and I have those mental days where I have to be more in the word, you know, because of what's happening. And if you can handle it without God, more power to you. You know, I'm happy for you. To each his own, you know, but as for me and my household, we need to do things a certain way. And we need to do what's working for us because medication is just putting me on my back. And I don't want it. I don't want that. But hope you guys stick with us and bear with us as we're trying to get things done. And we shall have some videos coming forward. But thank you guys for all that your love and your support for being here. And I'm still trying to look for the joy. The joy while I'm here. Cleaning my house. I'm thankful for it while I have it. Taking my hot baths and my bubble baths and everything. But I'm telling you, oh, my bed massages me at night. When I'm on solar, I'm going to be able to have that. That must be on the list because I know my bones are going to be sore as I'm helping my husband on that land. But thank you guys for watching. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Turn on your notification bell if you haven't already done so. But we'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.